what do you think about the negative sides of being an English teacher? Or do you have any stories that you want to tell?
Stories. Wow. I can't even share some of the stories. I think the annoying part or the struggling part would be most of the time I feel like it's like a one-way conversation. For students, they're still developing their English skills, which means they are not capable of
fully expressing themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of hard to keep a conversation going, right? Sometimes when you say something, they don't respond because they don't know what to say, or they're still figuring out what you're saying. So it feels like you're talking to the air. Also, this can be another downside of online classes. Like when we have online classes or online meetings, you're sort of not knowing when is the proper time to speak or respond, because there's always like lag and delay. It's not organic environment. When you're finally ready to say something, if I talk now, I would interrupt the teacher.
As you said, it's not organic. It's a conversation. And then if you are teaching in a physical classroom, it's kind of like that immediate reaction that kind of fuel your passion for teaching. But then in an online context, you kind of have to figure out when you should take the floor or maybe give away the floor. And then sometimes it can be a little bit awkward, right? I think it's all right still with adult students, but if you are learning with young learners, it can be a lot more chaotic because they don't have the etiquette to know when is their cue to take the floor, or maybe their cue to exit the floor, and then they keep on rambling. For our former company, we had this rule that students usually do not use their face cam, so they don't have to turn on their camera when they have online classes with us. I will recognize their voices, link their English names to the voices that they have, but then I don't know what they look like. Right? I don't recognize their face. One time, a student actually waved at me at the night market, and it's like,
really?
"Hey, Teacher Chris," and I was like, "You must be one of my students," but then it's too far away. I cannot recognize your voice. It might be one of the students I have, and then, but it's kind of weird to say hello to them because you don't know if he or she is one of your students, or maybe they're one of your friends from a long time ago, and then you don't recognize them. Right?
Yeah, they are like always in the dark while we are
lurking.
The students can be too shy or worry about making mistakes, so they don't share their thoughts or story with me. They probably think there's not much to share. I'm just like working. I'm just like as usual. Like the conversation can be dull. So I encourage everyone who's learning whatever language to share. Don't think, there's nothing interesting or special about me that I can share. Share even those like things are very small. I didn't sleep well because there's a mosquito in my room. That helps you develop your patterns in this language.
As an English teacher, now I'm also learning French. So I would
French is pretty good already.
It's only B1 level. I'm still trying to get to B2.
B1 level.
That's right. Yeah. I've been learning for like 3 to 4 years, and it's only B1. So I'm kind of quite slow on this one. But I'm really intensively taking classes right now. As an English teacher, I know that I have to, throw out topics that I want to talk about, even though it's like everything is just normal life. Actually, nothing special, but I just ramble about small things in my life. Because as an English teacher, I don't want my students to say, "Oh, yeah, nothing special. Just I go to work, I come back home, and then that's it." And then I was like, share something. Also, extending to the point that you said, sometimes students can be too afraid of making mistakes, so they refuse to actually talk. I think that is partially because of educational system, right? I think for Taiwanese education, the most important thing for us is fairness. The tests, the exams, they have to be fair. If you want to test out English ability fairly, then you have to have set in stone answers, right? So the only correct answer would be C. You cannot choose A, B, or D. But then this kind of structure makes students think, so there is a one and only correct answer to this. So that means there is only one and correct way to say what I want to say. And if I make any mistakes, it's doomsday, it's the end of the world. Any conversation in any languages should be organic. It's more about flow and also just getting your message across instead of, I have to have perfect grammar. I have to pronounce it perfectly. Everything has to be spot on. Otherwise, I'm doomed. I am terrible. I'm stupid. But that's not the case, right? I do have a tutor student who is also my personal friend. And then sometimes she told me that she was actually traumatized during the whole elementary, junior high, senior high educational years, as in all the English teachers that she had at school were very maybe overbearing or maybe super strict, gaslighting them or maybe forcing them to learn without making the contents easier or maybe interesting. And then they're always like, oh, if you don't memorize these new words or phrases, I'm gonna punish you, right?
Oh,
that's right.
okay.
I'm gonna whip you or maybe
oh no,
have you write down the word for 100 times. So that kind of punishments were very common back in the olden days, right? So people call me a soft teacher. I'm kind of like very gentle, very kind. I don't really say, oh, you have to do this. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very angry about it. My friend Peggy, she told me that, oh, you are the first English teacher who is kind and then who made English interesting. And then it's so fun to learn with you. I always make them write a script, but without any punishment. And they have to, like as a team, go onto the stage to act out their script as a little drama thing.
Role play.
Role play. And then they would be very shy or reluctant to do it. But then at the end of the day, they would be like, oh yeah, it's kind of fun. So to be able to stand in front of the class and then role play everything out. I think it's nice to have a physical classroom sometimes. Like the terrible thing is to commute there, but then the good thing is that you get to do this kind of things, right?
Perhaps we should all absorb something. So like reading or, watching a movie. And after we absorb that, we should reflect or, try to retell that experience. I think now we are in an era of information overload. We have so much we want to accomplish and so many videos we want to watch. People kind of like trying to rush to get all that information absorbed, but they never have the time to slow down and rethink and to retell those experiences. So when they come to the class, it's just kind of like, yeah, I can remember anything. All I remember is like trying to rush to do a lot of things. Yeah, so I watch a movie, but I can't remember because there's just like so many things I've been doing. I think that's one kind of general problem we have now.
Last time we also talked about doom scrolling, right? Because you said that you realize a lot of your students, the younger generation, now they have very short attention span, right? Because they've been watching those reels, shorts. I also realized that I also don't enjoy reading as I used to. I feel like now I have to dedicate maybe 1 or 2 hours per week to just sit down and then read something or maybe learn something through a text, not a video, because I feel like if it's video, it's always a lot of stimulation, and I don't want to take in so much stimulus. Not reading enough or not slowing down, and then you kind of lose your critical thinking in the process.